Avatar: The Last Airbender is the same story as Star Wars, like beat for beat, The Last Airbender copied Star Wars. But Jeff, you're probably saying, how can you say that Star Wars and Avatar: The Last Airbender are the same? I mean, they both follow the hero's journey standard of storytelling. There's bound to be some similarities. Well, to that I say, what an astute observation, audience member. However, the similarities between these two stories is beyond the pale. It's beyond just, oh, they're the hero's journey story. Yet, I've never seen it talked about just how eerily similar these franchises are to each other, so this video is going to be that, a fun comparison between them. Now, things don't play out exactly the same, but there are some really similar aspects here. So to start off, we're existing in a world where people can levitate rocks and throw them at each other, a world where people can shoot lightning at each other. It's essentially a world surrounded by spiritual energy that involves supernatural abilities. In Star Wars, these supernatural powers are called the Force, and in Avatar they are called bending. Now, let's take a look at the prequel story to these two franchises. We start off with two best friends.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy, and he was a good friend.
Back then, he was just Prince Ozin, and he was my best friend.
In this story, Roku is Obi-Wan and Sozin is Anakin. Sozin and Anakin are manipulated by their quest for power and become callous and distorted. Evil. These two people have been friends for decades, but one of them is going down a dark path. Ultimately, this puts them at odds with each other, where one of them still maintains their ideological purity and the other has switched sides. This takes them from being best friends to circumstantial enemies, and eventually their conflict comes to a head on a volcano. Now, the difference here is obviously that Obi-Wan is fighting Anakin while Roku and Sozin are fighting the volcano. The nature of their fights are very different. However, our prequel story ends on a volcano as two masters of the supernatural battle it out. In the end, Obi-Wan and Roku fail in their mission while inside a volcano, and fail to do what must be done. They fail to kill their old best friend, to the detriment of the greater good and the world. Oh, and perhaps most importantly, Sozin and Anakin both see fit to oversee the genocide of an ancient order of robe-wearing monks, leaving their temples derelict and destroyed. They oversee the creation of a new empire, hell-bent on domination. So yeah, these prequel stories are really similar, but wait, there's more. Now it's the original story, a three-part series that sees the introduction of our hero, Aang and Luke, the last remnants of the destroyed monks. They are the chosen ones, destined to save the world and quote-unquote bring balance.
And you will bring peace and restore balance in the world.
You refer to the prophecy of the one who will bring balance to the Force. You believe it's this boy?
Whatever that means, though they are hardly ready for the challenges that await them.
Go!
I got such a bad case of dust contamination.
That's great, Aang. You didn't even look.
Our monk boy comes across a motley crew to assist him on his journey. There's a scoundrel that's reflected in Han Solo and Sokka.
But I've never seen anything to make me believe there's one all-powerful force controlling everything.
I can't believe we're here in the House of Nonsense.
Try to keep an open mind, Sokka. There are things in this world that just can't be explained.
Magic water.
Hokey religions.
And the loving nature of Leia is seen in Katara.
The paranoid one is my brother, Sokka.
He's my brother.
As well as the badass nature of Leia being reflected in Toph.
Somebody has to save our skins.
I am the greatest earthbender in the world.
A little short for a stormtrooper.
Huh?
What are you doing here, Twinkle Toes?
Heck, you even have the incoherent remarks of Chewbacca present in Appa.
I said, aren't you, boy?
Together, our team must rebel against an all-powerful empire that is seeking to assert its dominance. It terrifies its citizens, commits war crimes, kills innocent people. They're evil, cut and dry. But our hero's immediate problem lies in the fact that an emissary from this evil empire is hunting them. Darth Vader is reflected in Zuko. He is an underling of the Emperor on a quest to snuff out the last of the Jedi, or the Last Airbender. See, the titles are the same, huh? Our old heroes that failed to stop the rise of this empire both appear as transparent blue spirits to our boy monks to offer them guidance.
I can't do it, Ben.
You must face Darth Vader again.
I can't kill my own father.
Everyone expects me to take the Fire Lord's life, but I just don't know if I can do that.
Both of our emperors shoot lightning out of their hands, by the way. They're both red, but that's kind of an admittedly cheap comparison. Our underling of the Emperor switches sides to be good in the end, and to defeat the Empire. Zuko and Vader both turn good. So the original stories of these franchises are also eerily similar. Really, the main difference comes in the relationships that are presented, though they are more moved around than outwardly different. The father is the enemy relationship is switched from Luke and Vader to Zuko and Ozai. So it's kind of like if Darth Vader was betraying his father by switching sides. That's what Avatar did. And the love interest within the group is swapped, whereas in Star Wars, the monk is the brother of the girl, and the girl loves the rogue. Here, the monk loves the girl, and the girl is sisters of the rogue. Very crafty of you. You probably thought we wouldn't notice, Avatar guys. Now, this is where things just get really weird, because Legend of Korra, the sequel series to The Last Airbender, came out before The Force Awakens did, and there's a lot of similarities still between Star Wars and Avatar, meaning that all of these upcoming similarities are an example of Star Wars ripping off Legend of Korra. Avatar ripped off Star Wars, and then Star Wars came back to rip off Legend of Korra, which is really bizarre. So here we go. Our boy monk has been replaced with a very powerful woman. Like, my god, these chicks just whoop ass wherever they go. That old monk order that was destroyed so long ago remains dead despite the efforts of Luke and Aang. Now, when Avatar copied the Star Wars franchise, they were kind of sly about it. They moved some stuff around. Star Wars does not extend that courtesy. There's a new masked, hooded villain rising to prominence, whose powers involve being able to freeze you in place, and only our lead can stand against him. But she's not alone. She will team up with a handsome rogue, this kind of funny simp, and then an Asian girl who gets sidelined a lot. In later parts of the series of Legend of Korra, you have an elderly woman trying to convince her son to leave the fascists, which is what should have been done in Star Wars, but Carrie Fisher died. Now, this is where stuff kind of gets weird, because in both Star Wars and Korra, you have our protagonist being hunted down by an evil version of themselves. Like I said, Disney didn't even try to make it seem like they weren't copying Avatar. Like, oh my god, guys, they weren't even being subtle. In Korra, you have this telepathic communication between Korra and the villain Zahir in the spirit world, and guess what Star Wars did? Kylo and Rey have this spiritual connection through the Force that allows them to telepathically communicate. And, I think that's it, actually. I think that's the end of the similarities. Now, I'm sure there's a ton of stuff I'm leaving out, but this is just the main ideas that I wanted to get out there since I didn't see anybody talking about this. Hopefully now you're convinced that these two series are basically the same story, just with some stuff switched around. So I find myself asking a question here, and that's, why did I enjoy Korra so much more than I enjoyed Star Wars? Both of these franchises had the tremendous undertaking of having to have iconic characters return as old people. And it's at this point I'm reminded what old Toph said in The Legend of Korra that Disney probably should have paid more attention to.
Aren't you coming back to Republic City with us, Grandma?
No, my fighting days are over. Don't tell Korra, but my back is killing me now. This is why you didn't see Katara messing with that Civil War nonsense. At some point, you gotta leave it to the kids.
Yeah, that quote is kind of damning for everything that Star Wars did. What Michael DiMartino and Brian Konietzko understood, more than Disney executives, is that you can't make the old characters main characters. Say it with me now. You can't make old characters main characters. You've got to pick. Do you make a new story with new characters, or do you make a new story with the old characters? You don't do both. You're really kind of squandering the potential of your new characters by doing that. You don't populate the screen with R2-D2, C-3PO, Leia Organa, Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, Chewbacca, Admiral Akbar. Look at how Legend of Korra starts off, okay? Look how it starts off.
I'm the Avatar! You gotta deal with it!
Now look how Star Wars starts off. Luke Skywalker is missing. Luke Skywalker is the first word. Luke is the first word. Our old protagonist. Not a mention about Rey. Luke is, I think, more of a main character than Oscar Isaac is. Now, just let that sink in for a minute, okay? The protagonist from the old story is a bigger main character than Finn or Poe. Now, Aang shows up in Legend of Korra, but he doesn't supersede Mako or Bolin. Hell, the show seems to go out of its way to write him out of existence. And I guess the problem with everything I'm saying here is, yeah, these would be big issues if Star Wars wanted to tell a new story, but that's not what they wanted. Star Wars executives wanted cheap nostalgia. So at the end, with all of the similarities I listed, I think Star Wars should have copied Korra even more. It's a shame that Star Wars and Korra aren't more similar. It's a shame that Rey, Finn, Poe, and Rose weren't given the Team Avatar 2 treatment that Korra, Bolin, Mako, and Asami received. Like, imagine if Rey actually had a relationship with Poe, or Rose, or anything beyond Finn screaming at her. I wish they copied it more. I wish they learned more. And that's the video. If you enjoyed it, please like it, please share it, please watch it with your friends. This video took me so long to make. So if you particularly liked it, please subscribe. And if you have an idea for what you want me to talk about next, let me know. Because I don't know what to talk about. We could talk about you if you want. Yeah, where'd you go to college? Did you go to college? Okay. Where do you work? Alrighty then. God, I'm losing my mind.